Welcome to Light Talk with Jason and Jordan. I'm Jordan. To the right of me is Jason, and below we have a guest this evening. Her name is Stephanie. Would you like to say hello, Stephanie?
Hello.
And Jason, would you like to better introduce our guest here?
Hey guys, thank you for joining us this evening. Our guest over here is Stephanie Stencil. She is my wife's cousin, and the reason why she's on the podcast is we spent some time together a few weeks ago, and nonchalantly mentioned this amazing story that I can't wait till she unveils to our audience. It gave me so much. The reason why it gave me so much creeps, it gave me so much reminder of if anybody's into Bigfoot somewhat, they may run across this recording called the Sierra Sounds, where to this day it's still studied, and when they analyze this, it's still they can't exactly discern where it comes from, but it's not something that a human can mimic, and it sounds like human like sound. So as she's telling me this story, I was like, hey, I can't wait to have her on and see if she has any amazing stories. So, Stephanie, Prima, do you mind letting us know exactly how everything went down that evening?
For sure. So let me kind of lay a picture. It was Memorial Day weekend. I grew up in Northern California, so Sierra Nevadas, right? Last minute we're like, hey, let's go camping. I have Monday off, right? So we're looking for campsites. Everything's booked because it was literally Friday and we're trying to leave the next day. Ended up looking for like 10, 15 different campsites, found one. It was this little tiny place I'd never heard of. And mind you, I lived an hour and a half from there. It's called Malakoff Diggins State Park. It is basically like kind of like where a lot of the mining stuff took place. All the gold rush stuff. No service, nothing. So I booked the site. We pack up, get up there. There wasn't even like an office to check in. We had to go to like the gift store. So we had to get there before 5 so that we could go to the gift store to get our little permit to get in. So we checked in, get up there. It's kind of first come, first serve camping. So we drove around, find probably one of the last sites. It was a really odd site. So we parked and it was probably about 50 feet back where the campsite was. So we had to haul all of our gear back there, set up camp, decided, I mean, we've no service back here. It's middle of nowhere, Sierra Nevadas. So we got our stuff set up. It was me and my ex-husband and my daughter. I think she was probably like 4 or 5 at the time. So we decided, hey, let's go explore after we got everything set up. So we started walking. We're on basically a cliff on the ridge, and there's a giant valley. You can see the excavation where they used to do all the mining and stuff. So it's big canyon basically right at the back of our campsite. So we started kind of walking around, doing a loop. There's a lot of trails up there. Um, we kind of got close to like this one area that was really densely forest, and my daughter just started getting really weird, and she was like, I don't want to go there. That's the bear forest. It's creepy. I don't want to go there. And we're like, okay. So we went back to camp, did our thing, had dinner, did s'mores. And as we were kind of just hanging out at night, it's dark as heck out there because there's no lights. The people that were immediately next to us, we heard this weird noise, and my ex went over there and was like, hey, what's going on? Um, they were like, I don't know. We heard this thump. They had an RV next to us. We were in a tent, and he kind of was like an instigator. So he'd always go check everything out, right? He's like, let me go see what's going on. And so he gets his flashlight, holding his flashlight, and he says, I didn't see it, but he said he saw eye shine that was, real high, a lot higher than an animal. Um, so we kind of were like, okay, that's weird. And so we just kind of went back and did our thing. We couldn't find anything. Nothing was weird. It was just really weird noises. So we're just kind of hanging out, sitting by the fire. And then we started hearing very loudly. It was like almost like a crying of a child, but it wasn't necessarily, it didn't sound completely human. It was just crying and screaming for help. And we're like, what is going on? And everybody else just kind of got into their little, RVs and tents. And we're like, okay. And it definitely, so I used to live where there were a lot of coyotes. I know people always say, they mimic that kind of stuff. It was absolutely not that. But it was just, so we never actually saw anything, but the feeling after that noise and just the way it just sounded like something was trying to lure you in. And we're like, okay, it felt really weird. So we ended up packing up our stuff middle of the night, taking off, getting home at like 2 a.m. because it was just so unsettling. And I was just like, I don't think this is gonna end well if we stay here. So we ended up just taking off. Uh,
It's really interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
weird.
Um, I remember when you told me the story initially. The thing that really stood out was your daughter, like knowing that there was something there,
Hmm.
and I don't know, like I really listen to kids a lot, so that really had me like, whoa, hey, she there's some things the kids pick up on that we don't. So I was like, hey, man, there's something there. Um, so is there any other paranormal stories you care to share? Because I know there's something else I want to ask you about after the paranormal stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's been a couple instances. I had an uncle that passed away that, I share with your wife that he passed away a year before I was born, so I never met him. And my grandparents bought the house across the street from them, which my parents ended up buying from them. So all of the family all was there. They all spent time at both houses. My grandparents owned it for probably about 15 years. So he'd been there tons of times. Um, and I remember one time I had this very vivid dream about him. And I woke up and he was just sitting at the end of my bed. And I'm like, what is going on? So I, kind of sit up and then he just stands up and just vanishes. I mean, I've had quite a few little things like that, nothing like where I've ever like interacted. It's just seeing things.
Nice. Yeah, I remember thank you for bringing it up because my wife also told us a story where she saw John. Is John, right? Not John.
Glenn.
Um, Glenn. I know it was a G name, Glenn. When she saw Glenn as well in the old house.
Yeah.
I have not seen stuff personally, but I've had tons of people I've met that have seen stuff, and I can't wait to tell their stories. Um, the question I was going to follow up is actually Ashley asked me to ask you this. Have you had any weird dreams lately, or any dreams that you care to share?
Lately, not really, but I know you know the one that I'm, you know the one. So I have this really odd one. So I grew up in a really religious household where my parents would always like bless the house, right? To get all the bad spirits out and stuff like that. Um, I was in not the house I'm in now, but the house I was in prior. I wasn't practicing in that religion, so I didn't have them do anything. I was just like, hey, whatever, it's my house. I'm fine. And lived there for a while. It was me and my ex and I think he was probably like one at the time, 1 year old sleeping in the bed because he always slept in the bed with us. And went to bed one night and I ended up getting like sleep paralysis. And I had this dream that was just, I didn't see anything, but I could feel it just felt like so hard to explain. Like this force and like this evil was just around, and I just was terrified. I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything. I just kind of sat there and I did what I was taught when I was a little kid. You say that whole, what's that sentence? Like, by the power of Christ, like, command you, whatever it was, that sentence, and I couldn't move. And I just said that over and over and over for hours. And it just wouldn't leave until morning broke and everybody woke up and I was able to get up and I was like, I never want to feel that again. That was terrifying.
Yeah.
So I'm curious with seeing your relative at the end of your bed and also, with the sleep paralysis, did you tell anyone about that?
Not
Just,
really.
no, you just kind of
No,
kept it
I
in.
kept to myself.
I
I was
get
like,
it.
that was odd,
Right.
settled to myself.
Totally understand.
Yeah.
So
Oh man.
now that a bunch of time has gone by, have you talked to any of your family about it? I mean, I know you've talked with Ashley about it, but I'm just curious.
Not
Still
really.
no? I
I mean, I
totally
think I
get it,
may
man.
have mentioned it. Like my family is big into like the whole because of the way that we grew up and the religion that comes into it. They've had
Mhm.
a lot of experiences like that, but I never shared that. It just felt different for me.
Yeah,
Because theirs was like, oh, I want to brag. I want to tell you about this. And I'm like, no, that was special. I'm going to keep that to me. Like
there
that's
you
not
go.
for, just to like give to everybody. But
Right.
at time, it's been a long time, probably about 20 years, honestly, since that happened.
Cool. Yeah, I
Yes.
was just curious their reaction if you did tell them, but I totally understand where you're coming from there.
Mm.
A little tidbit. Even though I'm not a member of the church, I will say this: they're the only group, they're the only church that I've associated with, in a sense, that are actually open to the whole extraterrestrial aspect of life.
Mhm.
They even have it in the, if I'm not mistaken, they even have it in some of the scripture. There's some questionable entities that have shown up that may be interpreted as a extraterrestrial, if you may
Yeah.
want to call it that. And then also the really cool thing was one of the forms in which they describe Moroni or some the Holy Trinity showing up was kind of like like an ectoplasmic kind of look, and or kind of the way to describe it, and it reminded me a lot of when we see the craft phasing in and out of within this reality. So that kind of it kind
Huh.
of core some stuff kind of overlaps. So even though it has, just like every religion has its pros and cons, some of it may have some root in what kind of the stuff that we're into.
Yeah.
Seems like there's a golden thread through everything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little odd. It was a little odd. I was like, "Oh, you guys are cool with this? Okay, cool,
Nice.
cool, cool."
No coffee, but
Um,
aliens are cool.
what would you say?
I said no coffee, but aliens are cool.
Yeah, no, that's really weird. That's really weird. Don't they bypass that with soda? Like, can't they drink like sodas?
Yeah.
Get out of here! You guys are,
I don't know. That's a whole nother topic.
dude. Oh, dude, we should totally talk. We should. No, I don't know, man.
That would be like a 4 hour long podcast.
Dude.
Nothing's off the
Uh,
table.
Nothing's off the table, really, man. You want to talk about Mormonism and your problems with it, or your solutions?
Solution is leave. I don't know.
Now I understand the 4 hour talk.
Oh man, no man. Oh no, the I had a 3 hour talk yesterday, and it's, trust me, the you guys are gonna love it. The audience is gonna love it. And Jordan was right. Staying local is the best.
Right?
Staying, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah. Oh yeah, brother. Oh yeah. Oh man.
So I'm curious with uh, with the Sasquatch instance that happened there. I know you heard noises, but did you smell any smells or anything that was a bit
Good
off?
question. Good question.
Not that I can remember, but that was also like 10 years ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah, it's been about 10 years.
I totally get that. So I had both my wife and I were at a place called Board Camp Crystal Mine, and that was the first really interesting thing that happened that night is like all of a sudden there was just like poof, this super, super musky smell, and I can't really describe it like it's one of a kind, and it didn't match like any of the anything that was around there. And what was neat later, and I kind of wondered if one was more masculine, one was more feminine. Um, but later that night there was another smell, but it was not quite fruity, but it was still like the musky. It just had like a nicer tone to it, but it was
Yeah.
still like super odd. It's so interesting with all the different ways, I don't know if it's say hello from what I understand. They're, more like we're here, get
Yeah.
out, you know? And
Exactly.
it sounds like they definitely did that with you guys.
Yeah. No, it's definitely weird. I will never forget that for sure.
Yeah, it's really
Um,
interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
um, so because sort of segue into kind of personal stuff. Your ex, we one time we had I had a conversation with him about all kinds of paranormal stuff.
But yeah.
Do you recall him himself having any experiences that were kind of similar?
He had a couple, and honestly, like I didn't believe in any of it, and he would always tell me everything, and I'm like, okay, whatever, it's normal. And then once we had that experience, I was like, well, okay, I maybe believe you a little bit. He had quite a few before we met. He had one where I don't remember the details of it. But basically, there was something in the woods, again, Sierra Nevadas, right? Because that's where we grew up. And there was something mimicking him and following him to the tree line, like mirroring him up. And then he ended up coming back. He was up on Lake Shasta on a houseboat, and he went up into
Oh
the
shit!
woods by himself and then came back, but it was mirroring him the whole time. And then even here where I live, I've got woods outside, right?
It's beautiful. Yeah.
My kids love to go outside in the woods at night, especially with their friends because they're teenagers. They love to go play out there. The kids have told me, like, oh, I've seen something out there. I'm like, okay, right. But I don't know what's going on. There could be things out here. I've heard plenty of stories. Like my ex used to listen to like the Sasquatch Chronicles or whatever. And I'd hear all these crazy stories. I'm like, that's wild, but like you kind of makes sense though once you start really getting to see things. You're like, okay. And they, there was one night we were all out front, and he was shining his flashlight because that's what he did. He always shine his flashlight out front, off the porch in the tree line. We did see some eye shine one time when we went down the next morning to look at the level, and it was 8 feet tall where the eyes were.
Oh, wow.
So something was either in the tree or very big. And I was out there for that, but that's all I saw. And I was like, I'm out. I'm going back inside. See you guys later. Have
Jeez,
fun.
man.
So,
Nice. Yeah. Segue into yesterday. The gentleman I spoke to, and I'm not going to mention his name right now, but he's going to be on. He runs research groups, and he notices a lot of activity happens when there's like a lot of females around.
really?
Yeah, and I was like, that's creepy. Like why is that? I'm like, because they're creeps also.
I wonder if they just feel safer, you know?
Probably that's true. That's probably that makes a lot of
Oh,
sense actually.
I sit outside every night by myself on my porch and I don't see anything, but I'm also not going out into the woods trying to find anything.
It's true.
So,
Yeah, man.
wild stuff out there.
Yeah. Um, your young or your oldest, he's very staunchly like in the church.
Mhm.
When he hears stuff like that, did that never faze him? Did he just say that that's just something else?
So he was also one of the ones that was out there when we saw that eye shine that night, and he was like, "Oh no, I believe it." And they they're teenage boys, right? And so we've got, shotguns, little things like that. And they're like, let's go. And they try to go out there. And I'm like, all right, man, I'm not trying to get you guys killed, maybe not, but they're gonna do what they're gonna do. And their stepdad let them. So they would go out there into the woods with, their guns and flashlights and never find anything, but oh, it's terrified me. But no, he was because he saw it too. So he's more into the Baptist religion, and I don't really know what much about that religion and what they focus on, and if it's like a taboo subject for them. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but he's he's seen things, so he definitely believes in it too.
Yeah. I'm in that weird spot too because I've taken my kids out to go do CE5, but they also go to church. So
Right.
I'm like, how do they balance this whole enigma to me? But everybody has their thing.
It's
Yeah.
cool that you
Um,
both are supportive with your kids with sounds like whatever they want to do, you know? That's really awesome.
Yeah.
You are too, bro. And
Yeah.
dude, I hate that I didn't get to see your kids at nationals. It's because I had to come for. I was only there able to go to the finals, and your kids competed in the semis
Yeah,
or
they
the
didn't make it that
prelims.
far.
It's all right, man. I'll still watch them, dude.
Right.
Dude. Oh, Stephanie, I didn't want to keep you up too long. Before we end this podcast, is there anything you want to share with us before we end this sucker out?
I mean, nothing necessarily, just, keep your eyes peeled. Stuff's out there.
Oh, I love it, dude. I love it.
Thank you so much for coming on
Yes,
today and
thank
sharing
you.
your stories. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. If you ever want to come back on, you know where I'm at, bro. You
I
know, you
know, I
come
got
over all the time, bro.
I know.
All right. Um, Thank you guys for listening to us tonight. If you guys want to support the channel, please like the video and or subscribe to the channel, please. If you're interested in QHHT sessions or SCHA sessions, please go down to the description below. There's a link for Jordan as well. Um, Thank you guys again for listening this evening, and God bless and good night. You guys, take care of yourselves.
Bye.